very good. Happy. We don't need a little Monty Python show out here. All right. I'm gonna call this session back into order in the matter of the appeal of Mr. Auto-Tune Tyrone for charges levied to him in conjunction with the raid conducted on 30 September of this year. All right, Mr. OTT, let me get the list of charges that you are appealing here. All right, Counselor, my understanding is that Mr. Auto-Tune Tyrone is appealing the following charges. Receiving stolen property times 22, possession of a stolen identification times 6, criminal possession of a firearm class 2 times 2, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute times 1, possession of cocaine with intent to distribute times 1, possession of crack cocaine with intent to distribute times 1, cultivation of marijuana times 1, possession of controlled with intent to distribute times 1. All of these stemming from what the defendant is alleging is an improperly conducted raid on the 30th of September of this year. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor.
All right, very good. The court is prepared to hear opening statements at this time. Madam District Attorney.
All right. Your Honor, thank you for hearing this appeal today. As Mr. Braun described in his statement of claim, Mr. Tyrone is attempting to save himself from these charges under the basis of what he believes to be an unlawful search. However, Mr. Braun clearly did not let his client know the basic laws of the land, which give officers every right to seize everything they saw on the day of his raid. Prosecution will, for a third time, prove to the courts today that this search was completely just and legal based on the evidence provided by the police department to establish probable cause. Thank you.
Guys, I had no idea this was tonight. I have no idea.
Mr. Braun.
I wasn't ready. I was making nachos with my wife.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the court, we are here to discuss and examine a search which was conducted against my client, Mr. Auto-Tune Tyrone. Special care and consideration must be given to the details of such search warrants because they cannot be prevented. If the police feel they have probable cause and a judge will sign their warrant, there's no way you can preemptively prevent that if there's something wrong. So if there is found to be something wrong with that warrant after the fact, then there must be an adequate and appropriate response to that. There are numerous questions, concerns, and issues that we see with the way this search was carried out against not only Cream Pie Creations, but also 2 of my client's personal residences based on indirect testimony about an individual or an associate, unidentified, possibly holding a weapon on the roof of Cream Pie Creations. Now, whether or not a search was justified given the probable cause, the scope was excessive, and the charges that stemmed from that warrant were also excessive, as the scope of the warrant clearly defined that this was a search for illegal weapons. The basis for the search was the suspicion that Mr. Tyrone had a large amount of guns hidden at this building, Cream Pie Creations.
Thank you.
That was backed up by shots fired calls, which were unspecified, and an unidentified person standing on a roof, allegedly associated with my client. Again, there's probably some stuff about this warrant that is justified, but if there are problems with it, then that must be dealt with. And I will save a lot of the deep analysis and examination for the examination phase and from my closing, but we are prepared to prove that this warrant stinks.
I got nachos here. We're making nachos.
All right, Madam District Attorney, You prepared to call your first witness or present your first?
I didn't know this was tonight.
Date?
I'm gonna call my witnesses first, Your Honor. I'm gonna call Officer Reinhardt to the stand. Excuse me,
All right.
Detective Reinhardt.
Detective Reinhardt, please step forward.
Sure.
I had just got off the server too. I was playing off stream.
Detective Reinhardt, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you, Mitch?
I do.
She's sworn in, Your Honor.
All right. Oh, Mr. Splina. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Reinhardt, how are you this evening?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you for asking. What is your rank within the Los Santos Police Department?
Detective Senior Officer.
So you are a qualified detective of the Criminal Investigations Division?
I am.
How long have you worked for the Los Santos Police Department?
I'd say roughly 7 months.
To the best of your knowledge, how many search warrants have you requested or been a part of?
Roughly 4 to 5.
Can you name the qualifications of a search and seizure warrant?
Well, you would have to have enough evidence regarding what you're looking for. So you'd have
They
to
had
have
no evidence
the
either.
scope, such as, did somebody shoot? Is there a government firearm on somebody, etc.
Written on the search and seizure warrant for Mr. Autotune Tyrone's estate, what is written for the probable cause?
Autotune Tyrone and his associates have been involved in multiple instances resulting in their arrest, Class 2 firearms being removed from their person and/or possession. Over the count of, I think, a 7-day period, we had received multiple shots, automatic gunfire shots, registered in and around Cream Pie Creations, along with somebody coming forward indicating that they have seen associates of Mr. Tyrone standing on the rooftop of Cream Pie Creations holding what appeared to be illegal
Somebody
weapons
coming forward.
and shooting down towards Mr. Street.
Thank you, Detective. The people would like to reference the search and seizure warrant that was just described by Detective Reinhardt and that it was signed by a
Somebody
Justice of
coming
the
forward. I wonder who that could
would
be.
The Honorable Judge Bailey.
Right, entered as prosecutorial exhibit alpha, the search and seizure warrant of Mr. Autotune Tyrone.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Reinhardt, can you tell me what plain view doctrine is?
Explain that to me? I've never heard that.
Plain view doctrine, that is, in the natural execution of a warrant, if things outside of the scope are discovered, then they are equally liable to be seized.
Yes, Mr.
Did you assist in the execution of this warrant?
I did.
Was the entire estate of the defendant listed in the search and seizure warrant?
When you mean estate, do you mean property?
The properties listed within, yes.
Yes.
Referencing exhibits A, B, and C inside of police reports 12350, what was found from the search and seizure warrant?
2 Class 2s, identification cards that did not belong to Mr. Tyrone, bank cards, which are highly illegal to possess, drugs. We did find ammo going to multiple guns, shotgun, heavy rifle, pistol, plants, weed plants, more than enough to remove.
Weed plants. I didn't have any weed plants.
Thank you, Detective. Is it illegal
maybe
to
that was-
cultivate marijuana in your home?
Yes, if it is above a certain limit, I think is 2.
Is it illegal to possess Oxycontin in the amount of 5,500 grams?
Yes.
Is it illegal to possess 550 grams of crack cocaine?
Yes.
Is it illegal to possess 45 grams of pure cut cocaine?
Yes.
Is it illegal to possess Class 2 firearms of any sort in the state of San Andreas?
Yes.
Is it illegal to own another citizen's identification card without reason of the owner?
Repeat that question.
Is it illegal to own another citizen's identification card without reason from the owner?
Yes.
Were all items found in Exhibits A, B, and C within Police Report 12350 discovered naturally while searching the estates for weapons?
Yes.
The prosecution has no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
I have one, Your Honor.
Of course,
Oh, excuse
Madam District Attorney.
Detective Reinhardt, would probable cause fall underneath someone pleading guilty while they are in possession of multiple items, illegal items?
Yes.
So if someone has been arrested several times in possession of, for example, a class 2, and they plead guilty, is that probable cause to assume or to write up a warrant looking for more?
Yes.
No further questions.
Cross?
So, according to your testimony, Mr. Tyrone was on the roof of a building with a gun. Is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Misstatement of testimony. She was reading it from the search warrant, not her own words.
Okay. I'm asking her to repeat what she said. But if you want to object to every one of my questions, you can feel free.
You
All
asked
right.
one question,
Stop.
Mr. Braun.
You know what you do.
All right.
Okay, Your Honor, I'm not going to be taking this, so if this is the way it's going to be, I can just leave.
We're all gonna stop. We're gonna let cooler heads prevail today. That's what we're gonna do. All right. Now, the objection is for a misstatement of testimony. I'm going to overrule, and I'm going to allow the witness to answer. And if she chooses to correct Mr. Braun's question, then she may do so.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat the question?
I am asking you to clarify that you spoke of Mr. Tyrone being on the roof of Cream Pie Creations with a rifle. That is what you stated.
No, I stated that they've seen associates of Mr. Otto
Whoa.
Tyrone standing
You
on the
did not
rooftop.
say
No, she did not
associates
say
in
that.
your testimony. So I wanted
Objection.
to correct that.
Argumentative.
I'm just correcting her.
She
and
didn't
making
say
sure
that.
she's not up here lying, Your Honor.
Argument.
He said the
All
same
right.
thing I said before.
Time out.
She did not say associates. She said me.
This is sustained.
Okay, so, Detective Reinhardt, what qualifies as an associate?
People within his group, what he calls himself,
Group?
what he and him and his group do. You know, it's not unknown that we have individuals who roll around with Auto-Tune Tyrone, calling them a group.
Okay. Would it not be prudent to name such an individual that would have some sort of bona fide association with Mr. Tyrone in this report?
Objection confusing.
That is not confusing. There is no name. So, without a name, how do you know they are an associate of Mr. Tyrone?
Overruled.
That is true.
I'm going to be honest, Mr. Braun, I was only called in for the warrant and to assist in the raid. I wasn't there to confirm or deny whether somebody saw it or not. I'm only
Ooh.
there to assist individuals with raid.
Ooh.
All right, well, I have no further questions.
Prosecution, would you like to redirect?
Wait, do you have any questions?
Just one question, Your Honor.
Yeah, I know.
Good shit. And good job.
Detective Reinhardt, what is constructive possession?
Repeat that?
What is constructive possession?
I've never heard anybody say that.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
The court understands what constructive possession is. Let's just go ahead and assume that the court understands what these various things are, and you don't have to explain it to the court like it's a first day.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. That'll make life a hell of a lot easier for everybody else. All right. Detective, you may step down.
New subscriber, cuz.
Thank you so much, Blitz. I really appreciate that, dude. Dude, I had no idea this was tonight.
Madam District Attorney.
All right, Your Honor. I am just going to finish this up by reiterating some of the details that were submitted into evidence. I.e., police report 12350, which is the raid. Police report 12347, 12156, 12140. And all I'm going to say about those, Your Honor, is that 2 of them, I believe, are guilty pleas. They show that Mr. Tyrone had in his possession Class 2 items.
Yeah, I shot Ellie like
Police
30
up
minutes
there as
before the
well.
tsunami. I
Let me
played
make
up
sure I
until
get
the
this
tsunami,
correct.
and then I went upstairs to make some nachos and relax with my wife, and then that's when Wayne messaged me on Facebook and said, bro, your court date. I'm like, what the fuck?
All right. Yeah, Class 2 items, Class 2 firearms.
I am
excuse
very
me.
tired.
Possession of controlled dangerous substance. Let's see. Possession of a firearm Class 1. Attempted manslaughter. And everything that was found within his properties. And it looks like he pled guilty to at least 2 of them. So I'm submitting them into evidence and just providing that guilty plea as well, Your Honor. That's all. Prosecution rests.
Entered as prosecutions Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
Prosecution rests. All right. Mr. Braun?
New
I'm
subscriber
gonna
code.
fold any detailed examination into the closing under the circumstances. I don't have any witnesses, so we can kind of move on to closing if it pleases the court.
Vengeance, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime.
All right, understood. Court will hear closing arguments. This has kind of been this is setting a new land speed record.
Yeah, may I request a 10-minute recess, Your Honor?
That would
I just wanna
actually
edit
be
some
nice.
things.
Okay,
Yeah.
granted. 10 minutes. I'll see everybody back here at, you know what? I'll give you a little extra. Yeah, I'll see everybody back here at 5 after the hour.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Damn, this is going by real quick.
That's close. That's the shortest case I've ever seen in my life. Sir?
I mean, they're not gonna think it's a short case
Well,
after I start my closing because I got a whole list of shit.
I was gonna say, holy fuck! I mean, you know what the fuck you're doing. I was like, is that it? He's not gonna mention any of this other shit. Like, oh my god, they got no proof. Once again, they got no evidence. And they said like, they heard that somebody called in or some shit, right? And that's fucking Speedy snitch ass. But they won't say his name.
New subscriber code.
Actually, it was someone from the DOJ. Because they fucked up. They redacted it on the search warrant, but not in the police report. So it was a judge that fucking snitched on you.
Oh, well, I mean, Speedy talked to his lawyer, so I don't know what his lawyer said,
New
right?
subscriber code.
So his lawyer might have talked to the DOJ. But I know Speedy didn't talk directly to the police.
But the fact that it was a judge that mentioned something of an associate,
That's
I don't
fucked
know,
up.
That's kind of fishy to me.
That's
Especially
fucked up.
with like the extreme response that came along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's not redacted in the police report, I am going to mention it
Ooh.
in the closing.
Calvin,
Though it
welcome
might
back.
hurt the case.
Wally's
so
Adventure,
I'm still
thank you.
kind of thinking about that. You know, I forgot about this case too, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean,
Otherwise, I probably would have reminded you.
yeah, I had no idea.
I've got the Chang thing on Sunday. Oh man, that's like,
Yeah, it's a big one.
yeah, it's like practice game for that.
Hell yeah, baby.
But I mean, even if we lose, I want to make my point across because honestly, even if you have to eat it, 22 counts of receiving stolen property is ridiculous. There's no sane world where a stack of bank cards gets you more time than attempted murder. You know what I mean? Like that has to proceed in degrees, like drug possession. It just you shouldn't be able to itemize individual things that are 10 months apiece like that. So that's stupid. So I want that to change, whether or not you have to eat it. And you know, obviously the fines and stuff. They tried to take your business. They tried to take your business mostly over charges of stuff that was found in your house. That really only proves that most of your illegal items you keep separate from your business.
Exactly. It was only an AP pistol, the bank cards, and the IDs. And I think we made it pretty clear that the identifications could have easily been, prospects in the studio, renting studio time, doing whatever. I mean, we've already went through all that on the last court.
Yeah. So yeah, they tried to take your property, primarily based on charges. They disregarded the fact that you run a business and, you know, dozens of people can have access to your building. And as far as the clear view doctrine or whatever the fuck, the only stuff that should really apply to that is your marijuana plants. Because they'd have to go looking in your cabinets for everything else. And yeah, they should seize it if they find it, but that doesn't mean you get charged for it.
Exactly. I got charged for the cards. I got charged for everything. And they're only looking for what, class 1, 2, 3 in explosives and ammunition. I got boned on all of it.
I have more guns than you do, according to this fucking sheet.
Yes. And the other class 2 they found, that was in my personal house.
Right. So they found one thing they were looking for and an extendo mag. And
that's
a bunch of stolen property. So, like, you got done in for, like, drug trafficking and all this shit that wasn't even anything to do with the probable cause.
And what you said before, what happens if I had 1,500 gold watches? You going to charge me 1,500 times?
Exactly.
That's insanity.
It makes no fucking sense.
Zero. And I did 525 months.
So regardless, we're going to pick this apart and we're going to, you know, make sure that nothing like this happens again, hopefully. But this is arson, so it's really hard to say if we really got a shot at getting him to overturn all this.
I mean, what happens if he goes, all right, I'm not going to overturn all of it, but I am going to refund you back the fines and do something for the time that you spent in prison that you shouldn't have been spending when you could have been making music or something. You know, I think that's like best case scenario right now.
Arnson is kind of a fan of splitting the baby, so like we might get like some of the stuff knocked off and some of the fines back, but some of it might stick. I don't know.
All right.
He's you know, he's got an interesting way of looking at things. But there are a lot of issues. I mean, Bailey fucked up. He didn't specify, you know, a clear scope that covered all the stuff you were charged with. So that's got to count for something.
Mm-hmm. And I wasn't even given the search warrant until 2 days after the fucking raid. And what's her face got promoted off it too. The cadet fucking forcer. And why is a cadet signing off on a raid?
Ardson is the one who made the ruling and put into effect that search warrants need to be handed over.
Yeah, well, I never got handed it over. Enforcer was a cadet, and she was spearheading this fucking raid. Why is a cadet that's not even fully trained doing this? And now all these mistakes are there. And then she got promoted after it. I mean, it's an insult.
It's
cadets
sloppy.
are conducting raids?
Yeah. That's a big issue.
That's a massive issue, and there's mistakes to be proven. Not even just one mistake. Several.
And yeah, like the problem with fighting a search warrant is their defense is always going to be, oh, well, the judge signed it. You know, like that makes it fucking infallible or something. But like you can't have a warrant without a judge signing it. So that
exactly.
doesn't matter. They can make mistakes too. They're not fucking the end all be all.
Exactly. And what happens if the evidence or whatever, the probable cause, was over-exaggerated or was not conveyed correctly to the judge? And then they went on by, you know, their instinct or their gut. I don't know, but it just seemed very fishy, the whole thing.
Agreed.
But I still can't believe a cadet was able to spearhead my raid, and there's this many mistakes. There has got to be some sort of... You don't put somebody in training on a search like... It don't make sense. I mean, you put somebody that's been in the force for a while, somebody that knows the intricacies of it, to do it correctly.
I agree. These things cannot be taken lightly.
Well, let's see if the judge agrees. So I'm assuming there's no way I can make a statement or anything.
And he
Like, do you think it would be worth it if I spoke up and I talked about my personal, feeling about how it all went down?
I don't think that
Will help?
would be good in this situation.
You're
Okay.
getting pressured from both sides. more
Because then,
often.
I would have to
You know, the
question
police
you, and
officers
then
don't
they
wanna
would be able to
talk to you
cross-examine
more
you.
often than not.
And
The criminals think that you're useless.
I don't know. We don't want that
Okay.
necessarily.
Yep. It's a sad world to live in, but oh well.
pretty much.
Your Honor, I'm ready to continue if Mr. Braun is.
All right.
Yep. I'm good.
All right. Yep.
I'm good to go.
We can come out of recess 2 minutes early then. Court, we're here closing arguments at this time.
All right. Your Honor. Okay. All right. Again, thank you for hearing this case this evening. As you have learned today, Mr. Braun is attempting to argue that the search was unlawful based on the details of the search warrant itself. Mr. Braun has confused himself into believing that the officers who performed the search would simply ignore other illegal items due to the fact that possibly the safes may be the only physical place that Mr. Tyrone could use to store those items in those particular buildings. He did, however, forget about the plain view doctrine, which states, quote, "In the United States, plain view doctrine is an exception to the Fourth Amendment's warrant requirement that allows an officer to seize evidence and contraband that are found in plain view during a lawful observation," unquote. Seems that the defense is attempting to set a very dangerous precedent within the city of which officers must ignore critical evidence because of search warrants only asking for specific items to start with. Must police start ignoring dead bodies in plain sight only because their warrant is looking for a specific weapon or a drug? Mr. Braun may also try to argue that the buildings in the city only allow for one location each to store items in. However, the lack of storage does not inherently protect his client from this doctrine. Maybe if Mr. Tyrone would have been more careful, he would not be in this situation today. That is no one else's fault but his absolute own. Your Honor, I truly do not believe that you will find this search warrant to be in any way unlawful. Officer Reinhardt, along with her fellow officers, compiled enough evidence through police reports and witness statements to gain this warrant, and as such, and through the qualifications for search warrants in this city, the warrant absolutely stands strong.
Witness statements? Who? I don't see any witness statements. None of it was presented.
To quote from Police Report 12350, Officer Forcer writes, quote, "Auto-Tune Tyrone and his associates have been involved in multiple instances resulting in their arrest and multiple Class 2 firearms, illegal assault rifles, being removed from their possession. Over the last 7 days, there have been numerous reports of automatic gunshots being registered in and around Cream Pie Creations located near Legion Square."
In Cream Pie.
She goes on to state, quote, "Recently, members of the DOJ, name being withheld, have come forward indicating that they have seen associates of Auto-Tune Tyrone standing on the rooftop of Cream Pie Creations holding what appeared to be an illegal assault rifle in their hand and shooting down towards Vespucci Boulevard. The following police reports are the recent arrest of Mr. Auto-Tune Tyrone, showing him in possession of illegal weapons," end quote. It then lists the reports. The 3 reports attached show that Mr. Tyrone has been caught and pled guilty to several instances of possessing and using illegal Class 1 and Class 2 firearms. Perhaps if Mr. Tyrone would turn his life around, or at the least not be so quick to plead guilty to charges as heavy as these, the state would not be forced into searching his properties in an attempt to stop him from terrorizing the city with his crimes. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and then claim that you should be protected based on the simplicity of a warrant only describing one type of item to be seized? That is not the state's problem. This search, as defined by the law of San Andreas, was completely legal and just. Thank you, Your Honor.
Weak. That was weak.
Mr. Braun?
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen, just to be clear, I'm very well aware of this clear view doctrine in total, and I came into this case knowing full well what that is and what that means. Never at any point in time did I say that the seizure of Mr. Tyrone's property, which was in clear view at these properties, was an issue. That he was charged for these things outside of the scope of a warrant for illegal weapons is what we are contesting today. Now, I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of all this and just try to follow along. Mr. Auto-Tune Tyrone was served a search warrant 2 days after his properties were searched. Now, Judge Ardson is well aware that now we do present suspects with search warrants on delivery of said searches. That is the law of the land at this time, and law enforcement by now should have been aware of that. But Ms. Forcer, at the time referred to as officer in the prosecution's closing, was in fact a cadet spearheading this search and seizure. So,
Objection relevance?
I believe it's perfectly relevant, the experience of the officer carrying out a raid of 3 different properties.
May I rebut, Your Honor?
No, you may not. You are overruled. We're going to let Mr. Brown stop for a bit.
Understood. Thank you.
He's doing his closing statement.
Ms. Forcer's inexperience may have led her to be hasty in her assessment of the situation. That is entirely possible. Now, according to these reports and the search warrant, a unnamed member of the DOJ observed an unnamed associate of Mr. Tyrone with a weapon firing from the roof of Cream Pie Creations. Now, does that present bona fide probable cause? I mean, how do you know that it's an associate of Auto-Tune Tyrone if you don't have a name? Was he wearing a shirt similar to Auto-Tune Tyrone? Is that enough? Is that really enough? Did you arrest him and interrogate him and find out, oh yes, you are an associate of Auto-Tune Tyrone? Is that enough to break into Auto-Tune Tyrone's personal residence, which is far away from Cream Pie Creations, or his apartment, which is also nothing to do with that building where all of this stuff took place, based on seeing someone, not Auto-Tune Tyrone, and not a named individual, but an alleged associate of Mr. Tyrone? The main issue that I see with this warrant on its face is the scope of the properties being searched. All of this seems to stem from Cream Pie Creations, and yet the bulk of the illegal items were found in his personal residences. The reason for the search of those eludes me. So we need to determine right here and now if we are going to live in a city where possession of a Class 2 weapon equals search. That needs to be clear and consistent from here on out, because if police are going to just use that as probable cause to search any old property that they see fit, then people need to know that that's the risk they take when they commit crime. They need to be aware of the law and the consequences and the penalties. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, but it is if no one ever makes that clear. Now, on to other problems with this search warrant and these charges. I'm going to point out the numerous charges of receiving stolen property based on those bank cards. There is no sane world in which having a stack of bank cards should result in a greater criminal penalty than attempted murder. It is utterly ridiculous. Charges involving contraband should proceed in degrees, which is established by the charges for drug possession. It is unjust to itemize to the nth degree these bank card charges to buff up the time, as has been done here. Are you going to charge someone with 1,500 counts of receiving stolen property if they have that many watches? It is something that needs to be dealt with. But in this case, the bottom line is the scope of the warrant was weapons and weapon attachments, illegal weapons and illegal weapon attachments. Judge Bailey had the opportunity to increase the scope of that warrant to cover the other items that were seized in the search. We are not contesting the seizure of those items. We are contesting the charges that came from those seizures. Because he was not under a drug investigation or a stolen goods investigation, those charges are unjust, regardless of the clear view doctrine, which in my opinion ought to only apply to the 5 weed plants which were found in one of his residences. I just need to take a drink of water here.
He's crushing it right now. He's crushing it.
Now, this warrant was supposedly about Mr. Tyrone keeping a large number of weapons at Cream Pie Creations. In fact, only one weapon was found there, and no consideration was given to the fact that this is a business where potentially dozens of people could have access to the building and the storage facilities therein. No consideration was given to that, and based on this search warrant, Mr. Tyrone's business was attempted to be seized. This attempt failed, and it was found that Mr. Tyrone was not sufficiently culpable for the property in the building due to the fact that it is an open-door public building which does business and has other people with access to the building. And frankly, for a weapons search warrant to come up with only 2 Class 2 weapons, I mean, Auto-Tune Tyrone has fewer guns than I do. So, I mean, this is clearly a situation where they went reaching and they came up short, but they cobbled some stuff together to get this warrant. And they didn't find what they were looking for. They found some illegal substances, which my client, has for his personal use. He's not a drug dealer. Let me think. Is there anything else I need to cover? But win or lose here, I do think wholeheartedly that stacking up those stolen property charges needs to change. And I do feel that Mr. Tyrone is due recompense for that. But based on the flimsiness of the criteria for this search warrant, I do definitely feel that Mr. Tyrone should have all of these charges removed. And if not all of the charges removed, then the charges which were not outlined in the contents of search in the warrant. Because if not, then why have a scope on a search warrant to begin with? Just get rid of it. It has to mean something. Search warrants are too powerful and too unstoppable for inconsistencies and procedural errors to be disregarded and ignored and chalked up to, oh, well, they found the stuff and it's illegal, so they don't need to put that down on the warrant. No. We need to be able to hold these warrants to an extremely high procedural standard, and there is no reason why a cadet should be spearheading a search and seizure of 3 different properties. Now, again, my real question here is why all of Mr. Tyrone's properties were searched in a matter related to just Cream Pie Creations that resulted in the attempted seizure of that business. That exceeds the reach and scope and was excessive. And I don't know. I think I've just about covered everything. I don't want to repeat myself. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Braun. All right, that concludes arguments in the appeal of Mr. Auto-Tune Tyrone. I'd like to thank all the counselors, as well as those of you that are in the gallery, and Mr. Tyrone as well for being here today. I'm gonna put this court into a short recess while I deliberate over the arguments that I have heard today. I will put out a state announcement when I'm ready to render my verdict. Feel free to mill about the cabin. Just know that things that happen here, I think actually will stick nowadays. So be cognizant of that. If you're going to be in this room, I ask that you keep yourself to a whisper. I don't like to hear everybody and their cousin talking about who's going to have the newest medical procedure or whatnot while I'm trying to sort through all of this. So I do appreciate you. I appreciate your understanding in that. All right, this court is in recess.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go think about something for a second later.
I'm just gonna,
I'll get the door.
hang out here.
Sounds good, kid.
Yep. You're welcome.
Hey, Michelle. What's up?
Just got the door.
Let's go out here.
What's up,
Hold
Doug?
Hey, buds.
What's up, Clutch?
Yeah,
bud.
that was not one of my better closing statements. I cannot work from notes. Usually I wing it. You know what I mean? Like I just go with the flow. But I wrote down some notes for this one because I'm trying to I'm gonna need a lot of notes for the next one. So I kind of tried to do that, and I just lose my flow. Like I kind of get stopped up, and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna say next? You know?
Yeah, you did fine. Your shit was
feel
way
like
better
it's-
than hers.
I feel like my flow is a lot better when I'm just kind of going off the cuff.
You're trying to
But-
be thorough, man. You wanted to make sure you didn't miss anything.
Yep. Well, I hope if anything they make stolen property charges by degree, because they can't itemize that shit. It's 10 months a thing. You know what? You're gonna get someone
Yeah.
gets seized and they got fucking 2,000 watches and a bunch of bank cards and stuff. They're gonna get charged 10 months per thing.
Yep,
That's
pretty much.
That's 1,000 years.
They'll send me back to Canada.
Well, we'll see, man. I thought you did great.
Well, I appreciate that because I'm underprepared. I forgot about this. I've been focused on the murder trial, and I apologize for that if we do lose. But I mean, I still made every point that I needed to make. It totally slipped my mind, and yours too.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't even know. I'll be honest with you. So I think somebody mentioned it to me in my head earlier, and it just kind of went over my head. I'm like, what? And then, yeah, I was outside the city, getting ready. I've been in and out of the city now for 15 hours.
Yeah.
I was ready to just call it.
Yeah, I was looking at the the county Discord paper, and someone was like, "Oh, the OTT appeal is tonight." And I was like, "Oh,
shit.
That's me. That's me."
I dropped 4. Just use what you need
Shit.
now.
I was just
Take the rest.
chilling and it was 3 hours ago, so I had plenty of time to
I think
get
Not a problem.
get a good look at everything again. But yeah, I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta go."
It's all good, baby. We'll see what happens. I mean, worst
that's
case,
20 G's. That's 20 G's. So
Hell
hopefully
yeah.
you get it back,
that would be
or if
amazing.
you get some of it back at least.
Yeah, I mean, if I can get any money back, that's a win. And at the end of the day, man, we got my Cream Pot Creations building, and that's all
right,
that really
here's
matters.
Here's the deal, though, and you should put this out on the street as well. If you lose, never plead guilty for any shit again, ever, and class 2 equals search warrant if they want to be a dick. That's it. That's what it's gonna be. Because if there's class 2s involved, apparently if they want to, for whatever reason, they can search all your properties. So if that's the world we're living in, like I told the judge, people gotta know.
That's
People
right.
gotta know
We
what
have the
they're
right
getting
to know.
themselves into.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm all about, is transparency and accountability. People are going to do what they're going to do. I'm not saying you're right to have fucking illegal weapons. Obviously, it's against the law, and if you get caught with one, so be it. I'm not trying to say it's
New
right. I'm just
subscriber
saying
code.
you should know what the consequence is when you do something,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
and it should be, more or less the same consequence every time.
Oh, it's dangerous here for Canadians, sir.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Well, I got my fingers crossed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the good news is it went really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tried to put the fucking some hustle into it because you weren't aware that it was happening, so I figured maybe you were trying to have some dinner or something and like chill.
I just kind of ate my dinner while we were doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, like we don't have any witnesses or need any witnesses.
Neither
This
do
is all
they.
about just picking apart their shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it kind of looks bad on their end because they didn't have their star witness.
They didn't have anybody, no nothing.
Yep, they found 2 guns. Oh, geez, that's nothing.
So we found what appeared to be a Auto-Tune Tyrone associate on a building shooting a Class 2 weapon. It's
There's
so like,
no,
oh my god.
There was no like meat to that statement. It's like it's definitely an associate, but why? Did he have a checkered shirt on? You know? Did he you know, he or she, did she have a name? You know, did he or she say anything about CPC or fucking OTT? Why are they an associate?
The answer is no.
I could get up on the roof of fucking Burger Shot. Does that make me an associate of Burger Shot?
Apparently so.
Yep.
I mean, no face, no case,
surprised
right?
with that, sir.
Right. So the problem with that argument though is it doesn't defeat the case in and of itself, because technically, and I mean technically, they, you know, can make any kind of possession of Class 2 probable cause for a search. It's whether or not that's the standard that they're going to work by.
But they don't. They don't do that.
They
don't do it like that. Though.
Exactly. They don't do it because it's like
stupid.
It's super unreasonable based on, you know, the way the city is.
They'd be doing a raid every 30 minutes.
Exactly. So if they're going to do a raid every 30 minutes, then they should just fucking do it already. You know what I mean? And do it to everybody and just get, you know, make that real clear. But if they're just going to fucking do it to be dicks every once in a while to OTT or somebody that they got an issue with, then, you know, I don't think that's very fair.
I'm with you, kid.
Especially when, you know, there's so much like unclear shit that was used as probable cause.
Yep. I'm surprised you didn't get charged for your old burnt CDs.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, I had about 400 of those in my dresser.
All that pirating.
I even had old DVDs I used to pirate.
Ooh, the IRAA is after you.
You know the fucking Lord of the Rings trilogy? That took 7 discs. Well, it was 6, but then another one was like bonus features.
It's a good thing your lawyer's here right now.
Yep.
The Lord of the Rings extended editions, I watch those once a year, and man, is that like a fucking chore.
Man, it's
but I
long.
have to do it. I have to do it.
It's an amazing trilogy.
I never watched them. You want to know why? Because I actually had sex in high school.
Oh.
Hey, don't be knocking the Lord of the Rings.
Nothing
man.
wrong with Lord of the
It's
Rings.
really good.
It's just too long of a movie.
I saw the cartoon. I was forced to watch the cartoon when I was younger.
I'm just busting you guys' balls.
I
It's
forget
just a
if I've
joke I
seen
always
it.
use about that and Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't really get into Harry Potter, but Lord of the Rings I fucks with.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what's really nerdy though is like when you go home to your computer and you like get into a video game and pretend to be somebody else.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
nerdy
those
as fuck.
fucking nerds.
Yeah, freaking nerds, man.
Remember Willow?
Willow?
Oh, yeah, fuck, that's an old school game.
Oh yeah. It's an old
That is an
movie
old
game
school
thing.
game.
Remember Mist?
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm still stuck in the
Riven
first
was
damn
just
puzzle.
such an
Mist.
unsettling game when I had that. Like Mist was
Yeah.
kind of short if you kind of knew how to win, but the sequel Riven was like the
Tough.
music and the sound
Right.
and like just how deserted it was. Like it was a very unsettling, atmospheric sort of game.
Nobody remembers the seventh guest but me.
The Seventh Guest. I don't know what that is.
It was scary. I died in the dungeon.
My favorite old school game though is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy,
Mm.
the text adventure game.
Yeah, that's
It's
old
so
school.
difficult.
Wow. There you go, bud.
My
Holy mackerel.
favorite game of all time It's on the NES, and it's called Star Tropics.
Star
Oh,
Tropics, the yo-yo dude. I
Yes,
love Star
sir.
Tropics.
I get Star
sir. Oh my
Tropics.
God.
And it came with that,
Wow.
that paper map that you
Yes.
had to put in a
Yes.
glass of water or something
Yes,
to
sir.
reveal the password.
Sorry,
if you
I'm
lost
getting,
it, you were
I'm getting
just
excited.
fucked. Unless you
Yeah.
found someone else who owned the game.
Yes, sir. Oh my God.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like a wizard guy, and like halfway through the game, they're like, grab the piece of paper and it had instructions, and if you didn't do
my
that,
God.
you wouldn't get past to the next part.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
what it was a world map or something, and you would be instructed to dip it in water at some point during the game.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, like gameplay-wise, it was like Zelda, pretty much. Just
Mhm.
like with a yo-yo.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What about like friggin' Bionic Commando?
It's a pretty good game too.
Used to go around pretending like I had bionic arm too. Yeah, I was pretty young. I think 22 or so.
Actually, no joke. About a month ago, I learned that they made a Star Tropics too. Never knew that till about a month ago.
Star Tropics sounds like a resort, like a hotel, like bar at a resort type of thing, you know, like a dance club, like I'm going to Star Tropics.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
And then
well,
there's
Star
someone named Linda.
Tropics
Linda's
is
always
like
at the bar. You can always find Linda there. Like, you know what I mean?
Star Tropics is called Star Tropics
Damn it,
because
Linda.
like it's about like an alien from space or something that comes to like this
Oh.
tropical archipelago or
What?
some shit. I forget the story, but like aliens are involved.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty close. Yeah.
Zora,
Interesting.
Zora, Zorro, Zo. Is that what's the villain's name? Zora.
I don't know.
Is this Star Tropics still?
Yeah,
Damn.
it starts with a Z.
Come on, Clarence. You love this game.
I'm trying to
Come on,
remember.
Clarence.
It's Zoda. Zoda.
Zoda.
Oh, snap.
Zoda.
Yep.
Never heard about anything. I have no idea what we're talking about.
A teenager's dream vacation on a tranquil South Sea island. A shooting star? It's an omen of disaster.
Oh.
Mike's archaeologist uncle has been kidnapped. Mike alone can rescue him. Thus
Mr. Brown, can I
begins
ask
the
you a question
test
about courtroom
of
procedure
island
off the record,
courage.
just for my own curiosity.
Mike's
what?
archaeologist uncle.
Yeah.
Yikes. I don't know.
You
man.
know, it's such like a
don't know.
plot contrivance that it's always like some random uncle that gives you like an unexpected new experience or whatever in this movie or game or whatever. Like, I never had an uncle that just like was like, "Hey, I do something cool. Come do some cool stuff with me." Like that never happened once in my life,
Nope.
ever.
Nope. I got in a fist fight with my uncle.
Never got left. Like
Previously on
cool
Course TV.
inheritance, never like went on an adventure with a crazy
Thank you,
uncle,
son
nothing
Gohan.
like that.
Well,
Big thank you, everybody that's kind of tuning into this impromptu
flashbacks, I guess.
court.
Better than flashbacks.
Yeah, we got in a fight. We got in a fight at the hockey rink. He was playing on the other team. We had a family reunion at the hockey rink. You know, just a small. We're not a huge family. There's like 30 of us. So we're playing hockey, a couple lines each side, right? And he goes up and gets the elbow up in the corner. And like, we're not wearing pads. We're just playing shinny. It's called, I think. So you know, I mean, when you're on the ice, it doesn't matter. Family, friends, whatever. I mean, I dropped the gloves. What could I say? He's much stronger though. So, but I
Please.
mean, I gained respect.
Please tell me you took your skate off and tried to stab him with it.
No, come on, Clarence.
That would be
come on now.
unsportsmanlike conduct.
I know you get a
No,
penalty
that-
for that. And if you cut him,
that's-
it's 5 minutes.
I thought that was football, unsportsmanlike conduct. Is that,
No,
is that
I'm not
hockey?
saying like that's
don't
what
wanna
the
drop one.
penalty's called. There's no penalty for stabbing someone with your skate. That's just criminal charges.
Well, I mean, if there's no penalty against that in the actual rink, then I mean,
It's
it's
slashing.
all right. It's all right then, right?
Slashing, I think.
Now,
And
slashing
Yeah,
is
slashing,
not
yeah.
stabbing someone with your skate. Slashing
Slashing
is
It's a
with the
slashing
stick.
motion. If it's a stabbing motion, that's a spearing penalty. Those are usually
Hmm.
majors, I think, generally, because they're kind of really.
I gotta go on my head for a
second.
sec.
Intentional, you know.
yeah, but
Alright.
that's with the stick.
Right back, guys.
not
Just
the
gonna run
skate.
upstairs real quick.
I was gonna say, just snap
Hit
the-
that follow
the
button.
fiberglass
Hell,
stick in
you
half
want to
and
do a
just try to
late night
stab someone with
subscribe or a
just one of
Twitch
your
Prime?
head.
Hey,
You know, when I
we're
was at
looking
the
for
hockey
20
rink,
more
I was
dubs.
like a
We're
full-on
looking for
brawl
it.
with like 5-year-olds once.
We're looking for
After the game, they all just went after this one.
I
kid.
watched a YouTube video of Pee Wee hockey fights. It was pretty great.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
like the
Pee Wee's
dude's
nice.
chasing him and he can like barely move on the skates. And he's just like so angry, but he's just patiently like waddling over on the ice skates.
Oh.
And then like they can barely fight each other. It's great.
They got hockey back north up home called Timbits hockey. Yep, named after the little tiny donuts.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh man, I want a donut
Sponsored, I
now.
think. I know. I don't want a donut. I just want the part of the donut that they don't use in the middle.
The
Wait, what?
glaze?
No, like a donut.
New
like a ring,
subscriber
right?
code.
Oh, the donut
Yeah.
hole itself.
Yeah, it's called a Timbit up north here.
We call them donut
Timbits
holes.
at Tim Hortons.
Or munchkins.
Yeah, munchkins.
Munchkins? What the heck? Get out of here.
They actually call them donut holes. Like I've had
No.
them, and it's like it's weird because it's just a little dot. It's not even a hole. So like, why they're gonna call it a donut hole?
What?
I don't understand
Because
it.
it is the missing hole in the middle of the donut. That's why.
Yeah. Well, then they should call it the missing donut hole.
Why
That's
would
not-
you
it
call it
doesn't-
the missing
I
donut hole?
don't know. The
Have you ever,
filler. They should call it the. I don't know.
Have you ever changed those like letters on signs one by one with that? giant
All right.
sticky thing on the end? You know how long that
Hey,
would
my
take?
man, Son Gohan, with
You
that
gotta do
tier
it again.
2 love.
That's why they're not called that giant sentence.
Thanks, bro.
Well,
Those are the
yeah.
signs.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I've rearranged
Bad
those signs.
marketing.
I rearranged those signs before to make something
too.
funny.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah.
I had to do that. Legit.
Yeah,
really hard.
donut hole is just a catchy name for something.
True.
Yeah, they're all.
And
Timbits
like
to me.
you can tell by the name what it is if you're not an idiot.
True. Wait, what?
Like a
Donut
muffin top.
hole.
You know what a muffin top is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a muffin top right now. Look at.
Yeah. I don't want to look. Too much denim.
Well, it's under there.
Denim.
Shit, I gotta get to the hospital.
Muffin tops are amazing. The,
Yeah,
the
dude.
rest of the muffin is shit.
Do bandages
The
not
rest
work
of the
in this
muffin
county?
only exists to get
Oh, no.
crumbs all over your motherfucking car
should
or
work.
your couch or your fucking kitchen. And,
What?
then you gotta clean up the mess unless you perfectly contain it in the muffin wax paper.
What do you do with the rest?
No, I eat the whole muffin. I'm just saying muffin
see.
tops.
Oh, thank you so much,
eliminate
Blitz. I
so
really
much
appreciate that, dude.
hassle.
You're like Gargamel coming after the Smurfs, ripping the top of their house off. You're like, "Arr!" Like, you like eat the whole. You know what I mean? From Gargamel. No, anybody? Smurfs? Anybody? Anybody? Gargamel?
Dragon Ball?
God damn!
Did you say Dragon Ball?
Z?
I said the Smurfs.
Oh, I thought you said
And
Dragon
Gargamel.
Ball. I'm like, yeah, fuck, I'm a Dragon Ball fanatic.
I mean, I recognize Gargamel from the Smurfs, but I could not tell you a single thing about him.
I watched Fraggle
For the
Rock,
next
not
time
the
you
Smurfs.
need some
Fraggle Rock's a good
motivation.
one.
Hey, my man,
Muppet
Suicidal
Babies.
Zerg showing love, dude. Thank you so
Muppet
much,
Babies
brother.
good too, yeah, that's
I
good.
really enjoyed Captain Planet.
Muppet
Get outta here.
Babies was like
Really?
really
Mhm.
good, but
Alright.
also I was just like really weirded out by the nanny's socks.
Oh
all
my
the
god,
time.
the weird socks and legs. Yeah, tell me about it.
Oh, I
She was a
don't remember
weird
that.
lady.
Interesting.
Remember Inspector Gadget?
Oh yeah, Inspector Gadget was great.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Back home where I grew up, the guy who played Dr. Claw lived in my town.
Oh, that's
Did-
cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Every single episode,
Yeah,
I always watched to see if they'd ever show his face. They only
No.
showed his arm and his cat.
The guy who invented Betty Boop lived in my town.
Betty Boop. I thought Betty Boop was real.
No, it's a cartoon.
Damn.
Nah, I think you're mistaken that for Mickey Mouse. He lives in in Disney
But-
World.
Jessica Rabbit. Well, that's what I do. I just go conversations just like that.
I mean, it was,
Thank you, Suicidal.
all-time high, and you just crushed it.
They bring me in to stop filibusters.
I miss the Nickelodeon show "Are You Afraid of the Dark?"
Oh, you know
Yeah.
they're bringing that
Movie
back.
out of that, aren't they?
They're
Are they
bringing that
bringing it
back.
back?
Or
Yeah, yeah.
It's either a movie or a full-blown reboot,
I
I'm
think
not
they're doing
sure.
a TV show, and I think
Oh
it's all
my
filmed,
God.
and I think
I
it
might just be
starts
making that up,
like
though, but
late
that
this
sounds
month
right.
or early next month. I think it's
Yeah,
around
they're bringing
Halloween.
everything back.
Did anyone watch the Rocco's Modern Life?
Oh,
TV?
of course.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. Is it good?
Yeah, pretty good.
I'll have to check it out.
Serviceable.
You know what I
haven't watched
want
anything.
to come back, like in a big way? It's Beavis and Butthead.
Oh.
I know it's like the
They
dumbest
tried it,
thing in
but-
the world, but it's just so good. It's just so
Yeah.
good.
Braun, are you Canadian?
No.
Oh.
The Are You Afraid of the Dark reboot premieres tomorrow.
Is it
so
tomorrow?
that's dope.
Shit, there you
my
go.
God,
That's a
I'm
nice.
glad we were
That's
just
real
talking about it.
convenient.
There you go. I knew it was coming
Right.
soon.
That's just funny. I mentioned it because I
That's
didn't even
cool.
know that. That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Are they doing a home improvement
I don't know.
Out there, Fire?
May,
No?
may,
You
maybe.
could play
Tim Allen.
I wasn't much of a Home Improvement guy. I like Boy Meets World. That was my thing back in the day.
Boy Meets World was dope. Saved by the
Family
Bell was
Matters.
dope.
Oh my God.
Saved by the Bell
Alright,
was like
relax.
the only thing that made getting up at like 6 in the morning worthwhile.
Mm.
I would watch it with my cereal before school and everything. It was a good time killer before school.
Yep.
But yeah, Home Improvement. I liked Home Improvement, but like of all the like basic ass people sitcoms from the 90s, like I liked Married with Children best.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, you
so
couldn't even-
good.
they
That's gonna
probably can't
stand the
air that
test of
anymore
time
now.
because
You guys are showing your age.
Excuse me, sir.
Yo, Married with Children was great.
Married was
There's
actually.
nothing else like it.
It still comes on. Like, and of course, it's not.
This is an epic song,
They're
by the way.
reruns. The reruns, of course. But it still comes on TV.
There's no way they can show that still.
It's on. Shoot.
100%.
Yeah, it's on at
Wow.
TBS. Like at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Shut up.
Like when kids are getting ready for school.
Well, there you
it's
go.
on. I like
Damn.
the
Why,
TV
why don't
show.
you think that could be on?
It's-
Because
it's
it's 2019 and like
Yeah.
an
Yeah, it's very
anti-feminist
politically
group
correct.
is bad subject matter for a sitcom.
I like
it
what's it called? King of Queens. Did you guys ever watch that one? It's not really that old though.
Is that the one with Kevin what's his face, like Paul Blart Mall Cop?
Yeah.
I like how. Did you see how when that ended? He made a new show, and he was I don't even remember what he was, but he had like a wife who was like someone I don't remember. But then after the first season with that new show, they killed off that first wife to bring in the wife from King of Queens to
Oh
be
my
his
Oh,
wife on
that's
this
hilarious.
new show.
That's
Jesus,
funny.
Murphy. God damn.
What?
So many good shows.
Also, correction: first episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark last week. Second episode tomorrow.
Oh,
Damn, it's
man.
already out. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Have to find.
I
the
like Monster of
first
the Week
one.
shows. I missed the Twilight Zone. Is the new Twilight Zone out yet?
That's kind of like
Hello,
Black
Your
Mirror,
Honor.
I
With,
guess, kind of, right?
Is it Key or Peele that's
That's
going to
great,
be
Howard.
fucking hosting that? I forget.
I like Twilight Zone. And I liked Tales from the Crypt.
Yep, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, y'all go ahead and bring y'all asses up in here.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
let's
Yes,
do
sir.
it.
Wait, Murphy, after the case, can I just ask you a quick question about courtroom
doing today,
proceeding?
sir?
Doing
Holy
pretty good.
shit! Where the fuck did he just go?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sorry, Your Honor.
No, you're fine.
Here we go. If we get anything back, that'll be a dub here. But we could get an L.
This is not an easy case to rule on. The ruling that I am about to put forth could and likely will have far-reaching implications, not only for the Department of Justice, but also for the PD and the daily lives of people inside of the fair city of Los Santos.
Big
And
case
I do
here.
not take this responsibility lightly, which
Ooh.
is why I was back there for as long as I was, considering how I wanted to do this.
Wow. Okay.
I have ruled before, and I'm going to continue my stance on search warrants. Search warrants in this city that are signed by a judge are legally valid unless it can be shown that police acted in bad faith. That is, they provided false or falsified or information that they knew to be false information to a judge in order to get their signature on that search warrant. Since I have no evidence that that happened today, the search warrant itself is valid.
That's fine.
Now, I also have strong opinions on how search warrants should be handled inside of this city. Because of the way raids and other things inside of this city work, it is impossible, in my opinion, to hold police to, we'll call it looking the other way when it comes to what might be found inside of an area where they search. But I do believe that a warrant is a sacred thing, and it should be upheld as written.
Ooh.
To that end, this court will not grant the appeal of Mr. Auto-Tune Tyrone on the basis of the criminal possession of firearms Class 2.
Oh, here we go. We're gonna take a
This
dub.
court will grant the appeal of Mr. Auto-Tune Tyrone.
Yes!
On all other counts
Yes!
of this indictment.
Yes, I knew it!
It is the opinion of this court that items that are not on a search warrant may be seized,
but not charged,
and seized alone.
Let's go! Let's go, cadet! Let's
No
go!
charges should stem if the items that were if the items that have been found
Let's
were
go.
not on the search warrant.
Let's go.
And search warrants should be written when officers have probable cause for certain items.
Woo! Let me see those dubs.
This court believes in strict adherence to what is on the paper.
Massive win.
And that blanket statements
Still
are not
undefeated
something
in
that should
court.
be
Let's go.
That is the ruling of the court at this
New
time.
subscriber could.
Court is adjourned.
Let's go!
Your Honor, may I have a brief word with you before you leave?
You may, sir.
Thank you for coming, everyone.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
New subscriber could.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you, Judge. That was awesome.
I gotta go to bed finally.
Like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I will hear any questions and answer anything that anybody wants to know.
Take care, Judge. OZT.
Hey, have a good one. Hey, you got some cum on your feet.
Valentine, you have gum on your shoe.
And his name is Miyagi! Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi. Mr. Miyagi.
Let's go, dude.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Let's fucking go, dude. Stacks TV, my man. Thank you so much for the resub. Bailzor King, 7 months. And my man, son, Gohan, $50, 69 cents. We got the motherfucking Miyagi Cena, and we taking the dub again. We taking... Dude, courts have just been going our way. I knew it wasn't done correctly, guys. I knew it was done incorrectly. Well, the charges and everything are getting reversed, so I'm assuming I'm going to get money back. I'm going to talk to the judge about this once he's done this conversation back here. I'm going to find out what the next step is. That was huge. Dude, that's big, man. And you know, things are really going to change in the city too. Like this is going to hold a lot of weight. Like this is going to change the way, like fundamentally how they do raids, you know, from this case. It is a win for the city. It's a win for the criminals, honestly. I knew it wasn't going to get thrown out completely. Like the win for me was getting the charges done, obviously making some money. So I'm not sure what that is or if that's even possible. But either way, I'm gonna get some cash back. Yeah, like they're gonna have to list the things that they're going for, and they need to have probable cause as to why they're doing that.
All right, OTT. We're not 100% clear on if things that are done over here occur in the other counties. So you gonna be around tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be around.
All right, so try to get that money reimbursed to you from a judge tomorrow. The
All right.
ruling should be posted and everything should be sorted out. So Just try to find a judge tomorrow, and they'll give you those fines back.
All right, fantastic, bro. You did a great job, man.
I appreciate it. I'm glad it worked out, and I think we set an important standard here. So thanks for the case. I think it's going to do a lot of people good.
Oh, thanks for taking it, and thanks for making such a good argument to get it changed in the first place.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, I've got work to do.
Yeah, go crush it, kid.
Busy man. Oh, hang on. You wanted to have a word with me?
Dude, that's crazy, man. We won both cases. Like, we weren't even appealing the raid itself. We were appealing the charges, right? Holy shit, that was amazing.
Yep, Clarence is just thinking about something inside his hat there. That was, yeah. No, that's really good, man. That's really good. So it's just the class 2s, was it?
Yeah, I'm only going to get charged for the, for the 2 class 2s. Everything else, that's it. I mean, I'm going to get it all back.
Damn.
That's going to be a lot of money. I mean, probably, I'm probably going to get back like 15 grand.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine.
That's a win.
That's a huge win. And not only that, they're going to change the way they do raids completely now.
Yep. But also, you went to jail for that, though. You've got some, that's not easy. That's not easy on a person.
Oh, exactly. And actually, I was going to ask the judge about that. One sec.
Mm-hmm.
Completely blitzing them like that, especially when.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, come on in, OTT.
Hey, first off, I want to say thank you for taking, this case on and ruling the way you did. It was very fair, so thank you. I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah, sure.
So my lawyer just told me that I'll be in the city tomorrow, and I'll talk to somebody about getting reimbursed for the fines that I had.
Right.
I had a question about actually the time that I did as well. I did do 525 months in prison, and I don't want to push my, I don't want to say luck because what you ruled was just, but I did spend a whole lot of time in prison for things that I shouldn't have spent time in prison for, and it took away a lot of time from writing and recording music. And not only that, my place was also being held down, and I couldn't enter or anything like that. So, I normally do songs at $100,000 a piece. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if there's any way that I could be reimbursed in some capacity for my time for spending 525 months in prison when I really should only went to jail for maybe, the 2 class 2s. One was found in my Cream Pot Creations and the other in my own personal residence.
Mr. Tyrone, while I agree with your counselor on the fact that a warrant should be construed strictly and not loosely, it doesn't change the fact that all that shit they found was illegal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do fully understand that, sir. But does that mean that I would have to do jail time for the things that, like, the bank cards? I mean, I got charged individual jail time per bank card, which ended up being over 200 months just in bank cards alone. And it wasn't on the search warrant. Now, I understand you can seize those items, but for me to actually do hard time for it and also be fined for it. Now, I know the fines, we're going to work that out tomorrow, but I mean, the hard time, I still was in prison all that time.
I understand, Mr. Tyrone. Think of it as think of it as what's the word I'm looking for? Think of it as you muse for your next song, sir.
I understand. Well, like I said, I won't push my luck. I really appreciate your just ruling, and have a great day, Your Honor.
You too, Mr. Tyrone.